Welcome everyone to this explainer. Let's just jump right into it. Today we're unpacking a systemic issue we pretty much all feel but, rarely actually stop to question, the absolute exhaustion of modern hustle culture. Like since when did being exhausted become a competitive sport? We're going to look at why we feel so burned out and honestly more importantly, how we can escape it by taking 2,300-year-old wisdom and slamming it into brand new cutting-edge data. Be honest for a second. Are you busy right now because you absolutely need to be? Or are you just terrified of what happens when you finally stop? It's kind of a heavy question, right? We're living in this era where constant motion is just the baseline expectation. Being completely overwhelmed is basically treated like a status symbol now. If your calendar is jammed, well, you must be important. But what if we've got that entirely backwards? Check this out. Most modern busyness is theater. Half that hustle is just anxiety pretending to be productivity. I mean, wow. We've totally internalized this toxic idea that rest is just for people who don't want it bad enough. Bragging about being so busy is literally the modern equivalent of flashing a fake Rolex. It's just a fake badge of honor. So today, we're doing a massive philosophical and scientific reset. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. Section 1, we'll hit the hustle culture trap. Section 2, how Epicurus quit the hustle. Section 3, transactional versus genuine friendship. Section 4, the actual science of overwork. Section 5, the buffer of passion. And finally, Section 6, redefining modern success. Section 1, the hustle culture trap, the performance of constant motion. The modern success story demands infinite skill, right? It's all about stacking side hustles, churning out content, jumping on networking calls, and filling your days with endless meetings just to prove you actually matter. It is literally a performance. Section 2, Epicurus quit the hustle. The ancient antidote. Let's pivot and jump back roughly 2,300 years. Athens was the busiest, most vibrant city of the ancient world. And right in the middle of all that chaos, a philosopher named Epicurus looked at the noise, the politics, the relentless ambition, and he just turned and walked the other way. Epicurus argued that the wealth required by nature is actually extremely limited and pretty easy to procure. Food, shelter, basic safety. But the wealth required by vain ideals, that extends to infinity. You can literally never have enough status. You can never have enough influence. He saw the pursuit of infinite growth not as this ultimate reward, but as a total trap disguised as validation. So the crucial point here is understanding these two specific concepts. First, lethobiosis, which basically means to live hidden and not constantly seek the spotlight. And second, hedonism, achieving maximum happiness with absolutely no pain purely through simplicity. Now, don't get this twisted. Epicurus was not lazy. The guy wrote over 300 works right from his garden. He produced way more than most people do today with their crazy, highly optimized 5 a.m. ice bath routines. But he did it completely on his own terms, without performing for an audience. Section 3, transactional versus genuine friendship. Building a safety net. To actually achieve that hedon, that maximum, simple happiness, Epicurus knew human connection was fundamentally required. But his version of connection, very, very different from how we operate today. In our highly ambitious world, we are trained basically from childhood to view friendships through the lens of career advancement. It's sad, but true. Connections are increasingly judged by how well they align with our professional goals. We look at people and instinctively wonder, hey, how can you enhance my life? We end up treating human beings as mere stepping stones for the next big LinkedIn milestone. Modern networking is all about forcing relationships for an idealized material outcome. We are literally chasing a person's utility. Epicurean friendship, on the other hand, is about building a rock-solid safety net against external threats. It relies on unfiltered, genuine affection. It's about shared experiences that actually remove pain from your life and bring simplicity instead of just trying to score a business outcome. Basically, true friends act as your shelter, not your ladder. Section 4, the science of overwork, the modern proof. All right, we've talked plenty of philosophy, but let's shift gears to cold, hard math. Because the modern data we have absolutely backs up exactly what Epicurus was preaching all those years ago. This brings us to an incredibly fascinating study published in the International Journal for Multidisciplinary Research. They surveyed hundreds of young entrepreneurs right in that 18 to 35 sweet spot. And this study tests the exact split we're talking about today. That classic ship faster, sleep less, outwork everyone script versus the modern desire for actual boundaries and mental sustainability. Now, What's really interesting about this heat map is the undeniable math behind it. If you look at the relationship between hustle endorsement and burnout, they are mathematically linked. The data proves without a doubt that buying into grind culture is directly tied to skyrocketing levels of burnout and stress. The very behavior you think is making you successful is actively destroying your system. The researchers built a mediation model to track the cause and effect, and it flows exactly like this. Endorsing the hustle leads directly to burnout, and that burnout directly causes lower life satisfaction. So the psychological cost of grind culture isn't just that you feel a little tired on a Friday. It literally erodes your overall satisfaction with being alive. In this model, burnout is literally the bridge between endorsing the hustle and hating your life. Sure, going hard might predict some short-term entrepreneurial success. It'll probably get you that early traction. But overcommitment fundamentally diminishes your well-being. Past a certain threshold, every extra hour you grind delivers less actual output while aggressively stacking up your personal, physical costs. Section 5. The buffer of passion, protecting your engine. Now, there is one specific element in the data that can actually soften the blow of the hustle, and it is incredibly important that we understand it. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept. Individuals with remarkably high entrepreneurial passion actually maintain higher life satisfaction regardless of how hard they're hustling. Passion acts as this massive psychological buffer. It's like a shock absorber that allows some founders to sustain their happiness even when the workload gets insane. In essence, hustle works, but only if your deep, intrinsic passion prevents you from totally collapsing under the weight of it all. Section 6, redefining modern success. Smarter hours, not maximum hours. Let's pull all these threads together, right? Epicurean stillness and having a real work-life balance, they aren't about slacking off. They are a highly optimized strategy for durable, long-term progress. The researchers actually identified 3 real-world typologies for founders. First up, you've got the hustler, someone who pushes insanely hard but totally ignores balance. Then there's the burned-out, growth-obsessed founder. Their recovery is completely depleted by immense stress. But the absolute gold standard, that is the balanced high performer. This is someone who has moderate to high hustle, but a highly protective balance orientation. They push, absolutely, but they make sure they recover. Take a quick second. Which one of these sounds like you right now? We seriously need to dismantle this myth that rest is some kind of weakness, and we can do it using stark empirical reality. Consistently working 55 or more hours a week raises your stroke risk by about 35% and your ischemic heart disease mortality by 17%. That is terrifying. Biologically speaking, always-on routines are incredibly fragile. Meanwhile, studies on hybrid and flexible work models show they maintain exact productivity and promotion rates without the brutal collateral damage. Work-life balance isn't a cute little office perk anymore. It is a preventive health strategy and the absolute baseline condition for true success. It really all comes back to this one profound realization. One culture fills every second and calls it winning. Epicurus emptied his schedule and called it freedom. True success doesn't just maximize firm outcomes while letting the founder pay the ultimate devastating cost. No, true success preserves your health, your genuine relationships, and your creative capacity for the long haul. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to take away from our explainer today. How are you defining your success? Are you measuring it by the sheer vanity of your busy calendar, constantly performing for an audience? Or are you aiming for the sustainable joy of a balanced life, cultivating true hedony? The data and the ancients completely agree here. The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive.